Welcome to Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies, or Johns Hopkins SAIS. Thank you for joining us today for this virtual information session focused on the Masters of Arts in International Economics and Finance, or the MIEF. On behalf of the MIF faculty, students, and alumni, congratulations again on your admissions to the MIF at Johns Hopkins SAIS. We are delighted to welcome you to MIEF. My name is Kelly Cornell. I'm an Associate Director for MIEF. Today I'm joined by two current MIEF students, Yara and Yusuf. During this information session, I will discuss the SAIS campuses and faculty, MIEF degree and curriculum, and SAIS network. Yara and Yusuf will share their experience with the MIEF and SAIS in general. And Latia, one of our dedicated admissions representatives, will tell you more about your next steps, important dates, and how to learn more about Johns Hopkins SAIS. We will save time for a question and answer period, so please feel free to submit questions throughout the session using the chat window. Founded in 1943, Johns Hopkins SAIS is one of 9 divisions which make up Johns Hopkins University. Today, the school's global reach includes locations in, of course, Washington, D.C., Bologna, Italy, and Nanjing, China. The school also has strategic partnerships with leading academic institutions around the world. You can see that SAIS has a variety of degree offerings across our 3 different locations. The Masters of Arts in International Economics and Finance, MIEF degree, is only offered at the Washington, D.C. campus. The MIEF is designed to prepare you to fully understand core concepts and theories that relate to international economics and finance. You will master professional level skills in quantitative analysis and econometric methods, giving you the skills necessary to expertly assess a wide range of questions and advance your career. At Johns Hopkins SAIS, you will study with world-class experts who are world-renowned for their scholarship, influence, and network. Students enrolled at Johns Hopkins SAIS have daily exposure and opportunities to meet with executives and thought leaders on the forefront of addressing today's most complex global issues and learn from their experiences. The diversity of lecturers and speakers who visit our campus contribute to the vibrant thought leadership of the SAIS community. At Johns Hopkins SAIS, you will advance your career. We have a proven track record for connecting talented students with global career opportunities. Through individual coaching, networking events, and employer presentations, career tracks, and our team of career counselors who will help you define your career objectives, connect with employers, and prepare for internships and job interviews. Also at Johns Hopkins SAIS, you will build your network. We have over 20,000 alumni worldwide with successful careers across all sectors and industries. Part of the broader Johns Hopkins University community of over 200,000 alumni. And finally, you would be part of a strong and closely knit SAIS network of leaders in a wide variety of sectors and industries. Let's get started and take a closer look at the MIEF curriculum. The MIEF is completed full-time over 11 months and in a cohort format. The degree program starts in July and goes until the end of June the following year. Some of the important features of the MIEF include the MIEF is a full-time 11-month program, which allows you to return to the workforce faster or enter the field with an advanced skill set. The admissions process for the program is very selective, which allows for small class sizes. This year we have 37 diverse candidates with backgrounds in economics, finance, and international relations, and math. The structure of the MIEF allows for direct interaction with world-class faculty. Not only are the world professors world-renowned, but maybe more importantly, the students enjoy learning from them. Every year, the SAIS student body votes on a professor to receive the Max M. Fisher Award, an award for excellence in teaching. Almost all of the professors who teach in MIEF have received this award at some point, and most recently, MIF's own Professor Jaime Marquez received it for the 3rd time in 2014. Located in Washington, D.C., Johns Hopkins SAIS is at the center of international economics. There are probably more international economists in D.C. than any other city in the world. Within a kilometer of the university, you will find international economic institutions such as the International Development Bank, the World Bank Group, the Brookings Institute, the Peterson Institute for International Economics, the International Monetary Fund, as well as the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve. These institutions not only offer a wide range of seminar and conference opportunities, they can also act as a nexus for developing professional contacts, as well as offering the opportunity for internships and post-graduation jobs. MIEF is STEM designated program. This means that students are eligible for external STEM-related scholarships and grants. And for international students, this means MIEF graduates are eligible for 3 years of optional practical training instead of the typical 1 year of OPT. MIEF, some of the common career paths include the public policy sector at places such as central banks, finance ministries, and multilateral international financial institutions. The private sector, which includes consulting firms, banks, and commercial investment firms, or the research field at think tanks or going on to further graduate study. Let's take a closer look at the MIEF curriculum. The MIEF summer term starts, as I mentioned, in mid-July and goes until the end of August. The required courses for the summer term are macroeconomics, microeconomics, and quantitative methods 1. All summer term courses will meet twice a week for 6 weeks. During the fall semester, all MIEF candidates will be required to take quantitative methods 2. Quantitative methods 2 builds upon quantitative methods 1 and introduces a number of new tools. The main objectives of this course are to improve the students' conceptual understanding of various econometric techniques, as well as provide them with an understanding of how to implement them. Topics to be covered include heteroscedasticity, binary dependent variables, instrumental variables, as well as laying down the foundations for time series and cross-sectional econometrics. The study of international economics is typically divided into 2 parts, international trade and international finance. So in addition to quantitative methods 2, throughout the fall semester, all MIF students are also required to take international finance and international trade, plus 2 of the 4 following economic electives: economic development, international money and banking, financial decision-making, or cost-benefit analysis. Towards the end of the fall semester, all MIF students are required to take the Applied Research Project. This project is intended to expose and familiarize MIF students with the process of conducting a preliminary investigation of a research question by collecting, organizing, and discussing the results of a preliminary study in a professional format. From a more specific professional perspective, this undertaking is supposed to help improve the MIF students' job market profile by encouraging the production of an analytical project sample for general use in job market interactions. After the fall final exams, everyone gets to take a short break, and then MIF resumes for the January intersession for 2 weeks. Students choose at least 2 credit hours worth of skills workshops that may include econometric modeling software, such as R programming, eViews, Oxmetrics, MATLAB, Stata, and Python, macro measurement, or portfolios in investing. The spring semester then starts at the end of January and runs until mid-May. The requirements for the spring semester are 3 economic electives and 1 of the quantitative methods 3 courses, either cross-sectional and panel data econometrics, empirical economic modeling and forecasting, or macro and financial time series econometrics. Some of the spring economic electives are taught by SAIS's highly regarded adjunct faculty, all of whom are professionals in the Washington, D.C. area. These courses run the gambit, from courses on advanced theory, courses on business finance, to practical policy courses and case study courses. Some of the courses MIF students can choose from in the spring include credit markets and credit risk, multinational corporate finance, microeconomics of development, quantitative global economics, and infrastructure finance and modeling. We wrap up the MIF academic year with the capstone course. MIF students work directly under the supervision of their chosen capstone advisors. MIF students apply the knowledge, skills, and tools they have learned throughout the year to address an international economics issue impacting the public, private, or nonprofit sector. Students may work in teams of 2 or individually, and everyone presents their findings in a PowerPoint and paper due at the end of the year. Examples of capstone concepts include current account sustainability, investment case studies, transport infrastructure, and firm export patterns. Some MIF students also have the opportunity to do field research for their capstones, which is funded by the MIF Degrees program. Throughout the year, MIF holds various seminars and events. MIF students are required to attend 3 of the international economics seminars throughout the year. Some of our seminar guests have included Simone Jenkov, who presented the 2019 World Development Report, The Changing Nature of Work, and our own Roger Leeds, who spoke on private equity investing in emerging markets. So that's the MIF curriculum in a nutshell. MIF requires 14 courses or 56 credit hours. It's essentially a 2-year degree in 11 months. Without a doubt, it is an intense 11 months in the MIF at Johns Hopkins SAIS. It is both very challenging and very rewarding. At SAIS, you will be inspired by world-renowned professors and accomplished peers as you advance your expertise through courses that combine theory and practical experience, which will prepare you to develop innovative solutions that make an impact. I hope I was able to give you a better sense of the MIF curriculum. If you have any questions, don't forget to type them in the chat box as we continue throughout the session. To give you an idea of what our current class looks like, the summer or our current class has 37 students. The average age is 25 with an average year of work experience of 2 years. We have slightly less female than males, and you can see our GRE middle range scores there. We have a 37% US minority in the cohort, and 65% of the students are international and represented 11 countries. I will now hand over the microphone to the students who will tell you a little bit about their backgrounds, their experience in MIEF and SAIS overall, and why they chose MIEF. Yara, Yusuf, thank you for joining us today. Yusuf, why don't you go first?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yusuf Abdullah. I am from Egypt. Before SAIS, I worked for 7 years in corporate and project finance, where I specialize in construction, infrastructure, and power generation industries, in projects in North Africa and the Middle East. I am also a CFA charter holder. What motivated me to join the MIEF is that I found that the world is going to data analytics and big data. So as Kelly said, that the MIEF qualifies for a STEM degree, which you can find a lot of quantitative skills and quantitative analysis in literally all courses. So I wanted to know more about quantitative analysis and to enrich my quantitative analysis skills. Also, the turmoil in the Middle East and especially in Egypt has inspired me to know more about macroeconomics and about economic policy and economic reform and how developing countries can pass through this kind of economic struggles. So in the MIEF, it's obvious that we have a lot of diversity in the curriculum. So you can have quantitative analysis, you can have econometric analysis in literally all courses, as well as international courses and macroeconomics and microeconomics. Also, the location of the school is very appealing, where you can find that we are in the middle of the downtown DC, beside the World Bank and IMF. As an example, during this week, there's the World Bank and IMF annual meetings, and actually I'm enrolled as a guest in this meetings and these meetings. So it's good that you can have like practical experience and you can see what you're studying in the school in the practical world in the World Bank and multilateral organizations. Also, the school has a lot of career tracks which are very, very interesting. Last week, I participated in a career trek to New York. It was a consultancy career trek where we met a lot of SAIS alumni working in consultancy. We had a trip to Deloitte and to EY and a lot of other consultancy firms, and we had the chance to have a dinner with alumni who are working in consultancy, so we can know more about consultancy and working in consultancy. Actually, I met one of the MIEF students that was in the previous year and the previous year's cohort. So being in the MIEF, you're qualified to work in economic policy or in microeconomics or in macroeconomics or in finance. You have like the sky is the limit to choose how to tailor your skills for the post degree career. As for my experience throughout the last 10 months was pretty intense and was a little bit stressful. But actually, I gained a lot of skills in a very short period of time. So as Kenny said, it's like a 2-year program in just 11 months. I consider myself in the mid-career stage. So having a master's degree in just 11 months is a very good choice for me compared to 2 years master's. I gained a lot of skills and I focused my research and my knowledge and my studying on topics on the topics of interest to me, such as modeling and financial analysis and risk analysis, and as well as finance. So I actually was surprised that even when I have the CFA charter, there's still a lot of topics that I can learn about in finance. So I added to my experience in finance and risk management throughout the program. I think that's all.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Yara, see if I can.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yara or Yara. I am also Egyptian, but I'm Egyptian American. And I joined, similar to Yusuf, I joined MIEF after about 6 years of working. I worked both in New York and in Cairo, Egypt. I worked in a variety of roles. So I started out in management consultancy, and then I moved on to impact investing and then private equity. So I did that for 6 years, and then I realized that I'm lacking quantitative skills because the market is getting more and more quantitative. My simple Excel modeling skills were no longer enough, and I needed to get more in depth. So as I shopped around for master degrees, this came out, and the quantitative part of it is really what struck me most. Throughout the summer until today, we've taken around 3 econometrics courses, which I feel have almost turned into a PhD level econometrics. I'm now able to read and understand economic papers that I once found I skipped over the quantitative part, but now I'm able to actually sit and read the tables and understand it and actually criticize academic papers, which actually was a big part of the money and banking class that I took. And so let me talk about this as what I chose in the program itself. The program is a cohort style, and that's really an advantage that might be overlooked because you haven't been in it, because you get to be with the same number of people every day for a year, and that creates a dependency on each other and creates an environment of learning where you're sharing ideas. Not only you're learning from professors who are excellent and are always available and have an open door policy, but also from peers that come from different backgrounds, and you tend to add to each other. That combined with the location in DC makes it very well suited for just learning. DC, you're surrounded by the IMF, the World Bank, institutions, but it's also like a 2-hour, 3-hour train ride from New York. You're able also to go there to learn about finance and what's interesting more in New York. And the SAIS has really connections in both cities. So similar to Yusuf, I didn't go to the same track, but I went to a different one in New York as well in private equity. And we visited a different number of private equity firms and asset management, where we met a number of alumni there who were very excited to meet us, very happy to help. And I left with a bunch of business cards where just by sending them an email, they reply instantly. And I think that's what's good about SAIS that you don't find a lot of, that's why you should also look for in a graduate school, is people that are going to help you after you graduate. It's not just the 2 years or the 1 year that you have at school, but it's also the continuous help that you get throughout your career. SAIS, the MIEF program has a link between econ, finance, and development, and it brings together what's best in both three. And I think in this ever-changing world, we're starting to learn from the financial crisis that finance cannot work without econ, and econ cannot work without finance, and they both cannot work without policy. And so being able to have a program that treats finance like an MBA program and treats econ like a PhD program and has policy in it really gives you the best of all three worlds. And you're actually able to like, okay, this is why the financial crisis happens. Okay, this is why policymakers need to read an econ book. Like this is what you tend to understand about this program. Especially someone like myself, I lived half my life in a developing country in Egypt and half my life in the US. This contrast has always seemed something that is not understanding, but being in this program, you tend to understand why is there a strong contrast and what is the main role of policy and economics. I just want to touch on one last thing, which is the populism class that I took. I'm currently taking a populism class with Professor Dubol, who is a fellow at the Pearson Institute, and being able to learn populism from a woman who has wrote 4 books on populism, who is currently fighting populism, who is able to understand that. So you're having not only a textbook idea of what populism is, but you're having a woman who is featured in The Economist, who's featured at the White House. So she's someone who's really well known and able to give you a really hands-on experience. And I think because of the location and because of the reputation of SAIS and the MIEF program, you won't be able to get them.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Apologies for the microphone. So great, thank you both so much. Yara and Yusuf will be sticking around for the rest of the presentation. So if you have any questions for them, please type them into the chat box. Johns Hopkins SAIS is a global community. SAIS has over 1,000 current students across 3 campuses, 20,000 alumni worldwide, with over 3,500 alumni in the greater Washington, D.C. region in a multitude of capacities. There are various ways to build your network while at SAIS. As you heard Yara and Yusuf reference, we do offer study tracks. SAIS has over 50 study tracks and career tracks per year. Some of the study tracks are related to elective classes that students take, or their career tracks, such as the finance track to New York City and the multilateral track here in Washington, D.C., where students visit employers to learn more about their employment options after graduation. There are many ways to get involved and engaged on campus as well. There are career clubs, activity clubs, and regional clubs. MIEF has its own student government association representative. MIEF also has its own student committees, such as the MIEF publication, the International Finance and Economics Review, or INFER. Johns Hopkins SAIS has a proven track record for connecting talented students with global career opportunities. Through individual coaching, networking events, and employer presentations, career tracks, our team of career counselors, again, will help you define your career objectives, connect with employers, and prepare for internships and job interviews. The MIEF class of 2018 did have 100% employment outcome within 6 months of graduation, and it is always over 90%. So you can see here from this chart, after completing MIEF, alumni have gone on to work in every sector, the multilateral sector, at places such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group. The private sector at places such as Citibank, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and TD Bank. The public policy sector, such as at places such as the Bank of Japan and the Bank of Denmark, the U.S. Department of Treasury, and the U.S. Department of Commerce, and the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Other students have gone on to work in the nonprofit sector at places such as the Peterson Institute for International Economics, or they have gone on to further graduate study at places such as Columbia University, Duke University, and Johns Hopkins University up in Baltimore. I will now hand over the microphone to Latia, who will tell you more about your next steps, important dates, and how to learn more about Johns Hopkins SAIS. Latia, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Kelly. Good morning or good evening, wherever you're calling or coming in from. My name is Latia, as Kelly has mentioned. I'm just going to talk briefly about financial aid, next steps, and student data. So, financing your education, if you haven't received the financial aid award notification yet, please contact the Office of Financial Aid, and their email address is SAISFinaid at jhu.edu. And they'd be happy to take a look at your file and see what's going on and why you haven't received a notification yet. But it does say that the U.S. federal aid deadline is February 15th. However, if you haven't submitted your FAFSA, you can still do so. Just get that in as soon as possible so that we can work on developing your award letter. But also the price tag here at Johns Hopkins SAIS, it can be a bit scary at first, but there are options. There is the Johns Hopkins SAIS MIEF scholarship, federal loans, federal work study, and also several other opportunities that we encourage you to look into. So next steps. The open house for admitted students is this Wednesday, April 10th, 2019, and we're really looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible. Also, your reply deadline for our scholarship recipients is April 12th. Okay, yes, so it's April, oh, excuse me, I can't read. I'm so sorry. That definitely says April 22nd, 2019. And then if you are not a scholarship recipient, it's May 1st, 2019. And then for the MIEF orientation, that is Friday, July 12th. And then the first day of classes starts that following Monday on July 15th. And so if you're interested in learning more about Johns Hopkins SAIS, we encourage you to visit us on campus. We are offering, classroom previews or course previews. So I encourage you to contact either the Office of Admissions or Kelly, who's probably been in contact with you the most throughout this process. There are still recruitment events happening, so we encourage you to look at our recruitment calendar and then to connect with us on social media, and these are our social media accounts. So if you have any questions, as Kelly mentioned, please type them in the chat box, and we'll be happy, Kelly, myself, and also Yusuf and Yara will be happy to answer those questions. Okay, so, oh my gosh. So I knew it was April 22nd, but for some reason I saw 12 and I was like, that doesn't sound right. And then I was like, wait, isn't it the 22nd? And I looked again and it said the 22nd. I don't think so. So check. Wait a couple minutes. You guys want to answer the question?
I'll go ahead. I'll take that. I just want to clarify.
Oh, sure.
Since we have some.
Okay.
So we currently don't have anyone logged into the information session and asking questions. So I just want to go back and clarify a couple of things. And then I have some questions for the students. So one of the things back to the financing your studies slide. I just wanted to clarify that this is the total cost of attendance. So what you're actually, what's payable to SAIS is the tuition, the health insurance, unless you can waive out of it, the matriculation fee, which is what you pay when you let us know that you're coming. The UPass, which is actually a new benefit this year, which the UPass is like a Metro card that you're able to use and travel on the Metro, the trains, the bus, everything for, it's $100 per semester. You cannot beat that. So that also gets paid directly to SAIS. And then also new this year is a student services fee of $900, which is also split between the two tuition billing cycles. And then the lower half with the room and the board and books and supplies, that's an estimate cost of living within DC. So this is put together from what current students report. So that's how we get those estimates. A couple notes here for the room and board. That, of course, is flexible depending on your living situation, if you have roommates, if you're living right next to SAIS, if you're a little further out. So, of course, those costs can vary. And then, too, I also just wanted to note the books and supplies at $466, I think is a bit low. So you might want to budget in more money for your books and supplies throughout the year as well. So just to clarify a couple of those things. And then also, because MIEF is a STEM designated program, you are eligible for external STEM scholarships and grants. Unfortunately, SAIS does not provide external scholarships and grants information. But if you just go on and you Google, there's a whole lot of them that pop up. So you just have to be aware of those application dates as well. So I just wanted to clarify a couple things on that. And then since we don't have any questions coming in, I will ask the students a few questions. So Yara and Musa, what is the one thing that you wish you would have done or known or prepared for prior to starting the MIEF degree program? Yara?
Well, one thing that I kind of knew but didn't really understand fully is that day 1 of classes is really day 15 of classes. Like, it's like you go in the first day, you get an assignment. And so you don't, like, it's not like the professor walks in and like introduces himself and we talk about who I am, like what we do with undergrad. But you really go in, he takes 5 minutes to talk about who he is, his background, his past, welcomes us, and then he dives straight into the material. So by the end of, the summer program is 6 weeks. So if you divide that by, it's 12 classes. So literally the first day, you're done with 1/12 of the material already, which is a big, it sounds small, but it really is a big amount because you essentially know that. You walk out with a group of people, because the summer program, you're with a group of 4 that you do all the assignments with. So you're with them for that summer semester. And but we prepare as if I've already started the first day. I come in with my books, with my pens. I'm in the study mode. I'm ready to do my assignment that's due the 3rd day of classes. I think that's essentially an advice I wish I had before I started.
Very good. You said that. Any words of advice?
Yeah. Actually, for me, I knew previously that the professors have a lot of expertise in different areas, but what I didn't know before coming to SAIS is that the professors, beside teaching, they are actually working in multilaterals and in the government here in the US and for other research institutes. At the same time, beside they're working as teachers in school. So actually what I got surprised with is that the professors are actually currently engaged in very interesting topics and interesting researches that are related to policy and related to international relations and international economics in different areas. So I wish that I could have known this fact before joining the SAIS so that I could prepare a lot of questions and read more about all of these topics so that I can have this fruitful discussions with the professors and know more about what is currently going on in the world in different fields, in finance and risk, in business, in international relations, and international economics. So I believe that if time goes back, I would have learned more and read more about different topics and different issues taking place in the world.
Great, great. Thank you so much. So, one of the other things that I mentioned was the MIF Student Leadership Committee. So one of them being our now annual publication. We just started last year with for the International Finance and Economics Review. And Yara is on the editorial committee. So could you tell me a little bit again about your experience with the committee, and then maybe just again a little bit broader about the cohort, because we do kind of I think it's not represented, but not something that we talk a lot about. Being one of the unique features of MIF is the cohort. And so Yara, start with INFR and then finish up with the cohort.
Yes, so I'm on the INFR editorial committee. I'm the articles editor, and what we do more is that it's an academic journal. So we want to make it an academic journal as much as possible. So we ask current MIF students and alumni. We also ask for MA students. MAs are the students in the regular SAIS 2-year program to submit their best work, which we later review, edit, and publish. What's interesting about it is that you get to read a lot of different articles, a lot of different papers that students have written throughout their time. My INFR committee is made up of around seven MIF students. We have an editor-in-chief, 2 senior editors, 4 section editors, and IT and art. And this in itself, we meet every week for about an hour or 2, and we lay out the journal, which articles we want, which articles we don't want. We discuss the themes we discuss what kind of message that we want to deliver today for MIF. We also make sure that it's very econ focused and finance focused and quantitative focused to reflect the complexity of our uniqueness of MIF compared to other programs outside. And so it's been a great journey to work every day with my colleagues. We all come from different backgrounds. We have someone with us that has been 7 years at the Fed. We have others that are just fresh out of undergrad and all what's in between. And so that gives a lot of different ideas and such ideas. So it's been, I think it's really nice being a part of INFR. It's also, you get to hone your writing skills because you are constantly reading and editing and making sure that it looks well. And also it becomes yours. Like I'm the article editor, and every single time I read an article, I have a hard time making a decision because it's my name on it, and I really want it to look really well. Then to answer the other question, Kelly, about the cohort stuff, I can say something that might make it a bit more like visible of what is the cohort style. So I've been in this cohort for 8 months, and or a little over than 8 months, 9 months now, and I've made really good friends. Like people that we hang out every weekend, we fight, we have fun, we go out, we travel the weekends together, they come over. Like it just created such a bond that is very difficult to have in grad school, and anyone else who went to grad school will tell you that. And we can see in the MA program. Like I've been told, I have lots of friends in the other programs at SAIS, and they tell me, wow, you guys are really close. How are you guys really close? I've been in this program for 2 years, and I don't have one friend like that. And it's the forcefulness of this being together in the same room, having the same deadlines, crying over the same thing, not understanding what the professor wants you to do, like all of the stuff you share together. And I think it just creates like a bond, like a journey bond. Like you know exactly what you're talking about. If I say heteroskedasticity to someone, they're the only people that will know what I'm saying. And so I think that cohort style is not to be taken like, no, you will be with them every day and they will be your friends. And at the end of the year, each one of them will mean something different to you and something new.
Thank you so much.
I want to add something to what Jira said, and that the program, since the very first day of the program, we started working in groups, in group assignments, and actually at the beginning we are assigned to groups, and then we work together in assignments and have like a million assignments per week. So this environment make us like very close to each other, and actually the program. The nature of the students in the program are very diverse. So students are coming from different backgrounds and different jobs and different areas and different countries. So we have a lot of diversity. As an example, for myself, I've been working in business, but I had little experience in econometrics. And a lot of my students, a lot of my colleagues in the cohort work in econometrics before coming to SAIS. So I usually go to them and ask for advice and ask for their opinion about some topics and some research ideas. And actually, I worked many times with other students on research ideas. So I have a research idea and I know about the business side of this idea. However, I don't know about the quantitative part or about the econometrics part, the technical econometrics part. So sometimes I seek advice from my friends or I work with them on the same topic so that we can share ideas and add to each other's skills and knowledge. So the environment in the cohort is not only for like we're friends having fun. No, we're friends and having fun and also exchanging ideas and adding to each other's knowledge and skills. So I made like the best friends of my life throughout this program, and I'm currently working with them on my capstone. So there's an environment of cooperation and like we're creating synergies from this cooperation and from this group work that we do throughout the assignments and research papers that we're working on.
Okay, great. Thank you both so much. So, so that there was some mention of tears and crying, and so I just want to. No, I'm kidding. I'm just using. But it leads me to remind myself that I wanted to let you guys know that why the MIF is very challenging and tough, and we do expect a lot from the students. We also support our students 150%. As long as you're putting in the effort and you're making the strides to get to where we want you to be, we're there to support you. So that's through the teaching assistant positions, where we have TA sessions, TA office hours, also the faculty come in. There, as Yara and Yusuf had mentioned, there's basically an open door policy with the faculty and the MIF students. So there is tons and tons of support for you as long as you're willing to put in the work. So that also leads me to, so what's next? Once you decide to join us in MIF at Johns Hopkins SAIS, what will happen next is you pay your matriculation fee, and then in about mid-May is when what we get called, you get made aware. So that's when you get your Johns Hopkins email address, you get access to all the platforms, and it's terrific. So that happens in mid-May, and then you get access to what we call Blackboard. That's where all the course materials are housed. So for example, in the Quantitative Methods 2 course, you will have access to do a stats review before you come to SAIS. It is actually required as part of the course, just to make sure that we're all operating from the same stats background. And then also for the microeconomics, you do get a math review. You get access to that. You also get access to, although hopefully you shouldn't need it, is the pre-calc and calculus online tutorials too. So there's a lot of prep materials that you do get in advance. so that you know on day one when you're walking in the class what is expected of you. The faculty will also send out a note and let you know, like, welcome you to SAIS, and then let's get started and send you the work that they're expecting for the first day. Two other things I forgot to mention is during the fall semester, all MIF students are allowed to take an additional optional SAIS course, so it's not required. You can take it if you so choose, and you can take language classes such as French or Spanish or Mandarin or Farsi. Or you can take an additional economics course if you so choose. Or you can also take any like SAIS international relations course, regional studies course, as long as it's available seat-wise. So you get that in the fall, and then in the spring, you also get 2 additional SAIS courses if you so choose. To take those. And again, the same thing, same options: language, regional studies, functional studies. So that's that. And then there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh, I remember. Also during the fall semester, going back to the MIF curriculum, in the fall semester, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, all students are required to take the Quantitative Methods 2 course, as well as International Trade, International Finance, and then the 2 economic electives. So for this coming academic year, we are developing waiver exams for international trade and international finance. So we're still developing the policies and the exams for this, but essentially you'll have to show on your transcripts that you have taken these courses before, and then you'll be allowed to take the exam to waive out of. If you successfully waive out of that topic area, then you can take any additional SAIS economics elective in place of that. So we are introducing a little bit more flexibility. I saw the students go, so there will be that added component this year. Other than that, what else am I missing? I think I covered just about everything. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at SAIS, SAIS.dc, admissions@jhu.edu. You should all have my email address at this point too, which is kkornell@jhu.edu. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I'm happy to help. So with that, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you all for joining us to learn more about the MIEF at Johns Hopkins SAIS. SAIS prides itself on developing innovative and strategic thinkers with the business, cultural, and economic expertise to succeed across sectors throughout their career. At SAIS, you will diversify your professional network and build lasting relationships with colleagues and faculty. Becoming part of SAIS also means becoming part of a well-established and vibrant community of influential leaders from around the world. From CEOs to ambassadors, government officials to NGO leaders, there are over 1,000 current students across 3 campuses, 20,000 SAIS alumni in over 140 countries that are driving positive global change. As you prepare to obtain a graduate degree and gain a better understanding of the complex intersection of policy management and international economics, we encourage you to learn more, even more, about Johns Hopkins SAIS. Again, thank you for joining us today. Make it a great day.
Sorry.